aim. The aim of the investigation is a very short statement, generally just one sentence, that explains why you are conducting the experiment, or really what you are hoping to find. So to state the aim, it should clearly outline the independent and dependent variables. We will talk about variables in just a moment, but these need to be explicit. So linking back to the language we talked about earlier, we would never use something like the amount of something, because amount is vague. If I say the amount of water, are we talking about volume? Are we talking about surface area? Are we talking about mass of water? There's lots of uncertainty there. Whereas if we say the volume of water or the mass of objects, it's very, very clear what we're talking about. Let's look at an example. To determine the relationship between the force applied and its acceleration. So we can clearly see force applied and acceleration are clearly the variables. To investigate the effect of water volume applied to a plant and the height of growth. Again, volume. We're not saying the amount of water, we're saying the water volume and height of growth. Even if we said growth rate, for example, again, it's vague. Growth rate, are we talking about how fast it grows? Are we talking about the height at the end? It's not sure, it's not clear. So height of growth. Notice that we nearly always start with a to something. So rather than saying to find out, which we always want to avoid, to find out is very, very vague, casual language. Substitute that with things like to determine, to investigate, to explore the relationship, to explore the correlation. Correlation is kind of the same as relationship. Then you just go on between this and this. And that is 99% of the time a great aim, as long as those variables are clear. We can also have something like to determine the correlation between the density of a liquid and the time taken for an object to fall through it. Again, very clear what the variables are, and we've used to determine the correlation between. That is much better than saying to find out how this affects this. Much, much better language. You sometimes can merge the aim into the introduction. So in that last paragraph of the intro, you may say like this experiment aims to do this, aims to determine the correlation, etc. That's okay. I personally prefer to have the aim as a separate heading so it's nice and clear, but some people do like to merge that right at the end of the introduction. So you may say, if you did that, you may say something like, this experiment aims to investigate the effective force on the acceleration of an object. That would be your like last sentence of your introduction rather than having a separate aim. As I said before, don't use words like to find out, to look at. They're not scientific language. They're very, very casual and they're very sort of informal. Make sure your variables are specific. As I said as well, avoid words like amount or rate, where it's not clear or it's ambiguous, I love that word, what the thing you're actually doing is. So I'll show you an example of that. The amount of water added. What is the amount? As I said, volume, surface area, whatever. Much better version, the volume of water added. That's a very clear variable.